In this video here, we're going to go ahead and take a look at how to create advantages with dribble handoffs. The dribble handoff has long been a part of our game, but certainly has increased in popularity as of late. So we're going to go ahead and look at some different reads that can be used within the dribble handoff, as well as some different ways to utilize dribble handoffs in your actions and in your offense. Before I break down the different reads that can occur within a dribble handoff, I quickly want to go ahead and just walk through the two different types that I'm going to cover in this video. The first one that you can see in this clip is whenever a teammate has a live dribble and dribbles at a teammate to go ahead and hand the ball off to them. And then the second type, which we see in the second clip, is where one teammate has the ball and throws it to another teammate and then chases their pass to receive the handoff back from their teammate. Both are going to be concepts that we refer to interchangeably as a dribble handoff within this video. So the first read that we're going to go ahead and take a look at is when the player who's receiving the handoff actually grabs the ball and rips away from the handoff. So they're not going to go in the direction of their momentum. They're going to stop, rip away from the teammate handing it off, and attack the opposite way. This is a great read to go ahead and use whenever the defender who's guarding the cutter in the handoff action either beats them to the other side of the handoff or is aggressively trying to do that, and you can quickly stop, change direction, and then have an advantage by going away from the handoff. The second read that we're going to go ahead and take a look at occurs when the ball handler does accept the handoff and turns the corner to go ahead and get downhill, either for a layup for themselves, maybe a dribble jump shot, or if help does come, to hit the handoff man who's rolling or popping to the rim. This is a great read to go ahead and utilize whenever your defender is trailing you and still does fight over top of the handoff. This creates a nice advantage very similar to a pick and roll, but you're not going to see normally the same type of coverage that you would on a ball screen, making it a bit of an easier read for the player who is accepting the handoff and then turning the corner. The third read is going to be made whenever the cutter's defender in the handoff goes underneath and tries to go ahead and beat the cutter on the other side, and that's going to be the twist action, where the player who hands the ball off to the cutter does not roll or pop. They just stay stationary. They completely twist their body around and then go ahead and set a ball screen for the player that just received the handoff after they've taken a dribble or two away to go ahead and create some space. Now this is an effective action because it gives you another option when the defense does go under, aside from simply just shooting behind. Additionally, because it's a bang-bang action, it's just really difficult to guard, and oftentimes it's really hard for the defense to get to the coverage that they're desiring on the pick and roll because they had to guard the handoff action just prior to it. So you're going to get maybe a good switch, maybe a drop like that one there, some sort of coverage where the defense is indeed compromised, and you're able to go ahead and get a big advantage even though the defense did initially go under that handoff. The fourth read is also one that's made by the player receiving the handoff whenever their defender goes underneath, and this is going to be where they just stop behind and shoot the ball. Now obviously this is going to be a read dependent on the player's skill set, but this is again maybe more beneficial than setting a ball screen if the defense is going to go underneath, because they're able to actually get the thing handed back to them, and it acts as if it's an inside-out pass, so you can get a little bit more of a stationary shot, and again, it's just a really simple read. So the twist is certainly an option when the team does go under, as well as read number 4, where they just stop and shoot behind. The fifth and final read that we're going to go ahead and discuss is the wrap, and this is going to be whenever the player who's receiving the handoff actually does not accept it and the player who's handing it off elects to keep it. The cutter will then just tightly wrap around the player who's supposed to give the handoff and try to go ahead and get either a cut to the rim because their defender is trailing, or if that's not available, you can just go ahead and play into the next action in your offense. But this is a really good way to attack with some passing and cutting, especially against an over-aggressive defense that wants to get out and pressure. You can let them get into their coverage and still make them wrong by having the wrap solution. So now that we've gone ahead and broke down the different reads that occur within the dribble handoff, we're now just going to talk about some different tactical situations that you can go ahead and utilize them in. Right whenever the video started, I mentioned I'm going to use the term dribble handoff for both handoffs that occur whenever the ball handler does dribble right at the cutter, like that one there, as well as ones where one player throws the ball to a teammate and chases it. A lot of people call that a throw and go action. I'm just going to go ahead and use the same term to define both. Now here in these clips, you see the ones that are developing whenever the ball is being dribbled at a player. That's a little more slow developing, but can be a really good option to have in your offense, especially whenever one of your non-perimeter players does have the ball up on the perimeter. They can simply dribble at whoever they'd like to, play in a handoff type action, and they can then roll themselves down, and you can keep going ahead and running your offense. The second one that we'll go ahead and look at now are going to be the handoffs that actually occur whenever a ball handler throws it to a teammate and then chases it. And these ones are much quicker developing actions. You can see here the defense has less time to kind of get into their coverage because it's a little faster developing, and this can be used maybe to utilize a player's speed as opposed to maybe their control that they would have to use if it was a dribble at type situation. This is a really good option to use in your offense whenever you lose the advantage after a ball screen. So if a ball screen is set and either refused like that one there or used and there's no advantage, you can simply throw it, chase it, and get another advantage. So it's a very versatile action with a few different uses for sure. Regardless of the type of handoff that you're going to go ahead and incorporate in your offense, you also want to consider how you're going to get the cutter who's receiving the handoff a little bit more time and space to go ahead and use the handoff. So the past two clips there, you see the cutter is receiving a screen to help increase those elements of time and space, and now in this clip here you're going to see where the cutter in the handoff is actually used as a screener, and again that just gives a little more time and space before they receive the handoff to create a bigger advantage, as well as have some other action on the floor there. So they can receive a screen or set a screen. Either option is certainly a good one, but just a really nice way to have a little bit more diversity to your attack and make the handoff a little more effective with the increased time and space. And now finally, I'm just going to show here on a slob how you can use the handoff by utilizing the passer or inbounder again to throw it and get right back into quick action. You see the same thing here on a baseline out of bounds as well. So it's one concept that can be adapted with how you get the cutter going, whether they're receiving a screen or setting a screen. It can be implemented in blobs and slobs, but it's one thing you have to teach, 5 different reads out of it that can be used in a multitude of scenarios and can be a great way to go ahead and boost your offensive production.